how's it going everyone? This is the Anime Man. Welcome back to another episode of What the Fuck Japan, your daily dose of weird news, culture shocks, and faiths lost in humanity straight from the heart of ramen land. That is, of course, if your idea of daily dose is 4 months ago. Otherwise, hey. It's been a while. Now, if there's any piece of information that has been ingrained into the tiny brains of the members of the online anime and otaku community, it's that Japan is full of these otaku creatures. And that these otaku creatures lack in a few things, such as any kind of social interaction with the rest of the world, any kind of stable occupational income, and more importantly, a tall glass of daily pussy juice. Or I guess if you're a girl, it'll be a tall glass of penis juice? Ugh. Why does that sound more gross somehow? Now, I'm sure there are many of you that are watching this and can vouch and say that these are just mere assumptions that the internet has created. No, Japan is actually a lot more than that. It has samurai, ninjas, sushi samurai? Wait, that's still not helping. Well, according to a recent study done by a governmental survey, all of these assumptions may not be assumptions at all. Because this particular study claims that 42% of Japanese men and 44% of Japanese women aged between 18 to 34 are virgins. TLDR, that means almost half of all Japanese millennials have never in their lifetime experienced the tall glass of pussy juice. Or penis juice. That's still gross to say. Now let me just lay down the grounds real quick and say that if you are a man or a woman aged between 18 to 34 and watching this video right now, then there is absolutely nothing wrong with still being a virgin. Even though there are certain quote-unquote societal norms that make no logical sense whatsoever and are nothing more than double standards will tell you otherwise. Dude, you're in your 20s and you haven't slammed any puss yet? What are you, fucking gay? Oh, you're in your 20s and you've had sex with 50 men? What a fucking slut.
Really, nigga?
But unfortunately in Japan right now, there is another layer to these societal norms that has got the Japanese government slightly worried about these numbers. It's the fact that Japan right now is in a population crisis. In recent years, there are less and less Japanese couples that are being born, with many of the couples that are born not wanting to make any babies whatsoever. In fact, this problem has gotten so serious that in recent years, the Japanese government is actually giving couples money to make babies. Links in the description for more info. The first thing I imagined when I heard that was the Alaska scene from the Simpsons movie.
Thanks for making babies. Here's $1,000. Yeah, that's what I thought, homie.
Now, in this very same survey, a few more interesting numbers popped up. The most interesting of which is that many Japanese men and women who are still virgins or are still single don't actually wish they were. With 86% of men and 88% of women wanting to have sex and or get married in the near future. And rightfully so, speaking from experience, there are a lot of attractive men and women in Japan. Not that I would go and fuck the nearest attractive Japanese dude, but you get my point. So if the vast majority of these Japanese versions do want to lose their V card and possibly get married in the future, then why aren't we seeing that in reality? Well, there isn't really a clear answer right now, but there are a lot of guesses as to why that may be. Some of the more weird cultural reasons has to do with the economic state of Japan and the sense of identity in occupation among Japanese men. Many Japanese men find that the amount of money they make through their work is directly reflective on who they are as a person and their value in society. If you make more money from your work, then that means you are a quote-unquote better person in society. While I'm sure there are many of you who are watching this and don't exactly agree with that philosophical reasoning, let's open those cans of worms for another day. Now, at the same time the Japanese men are struggling with their sense of worth, there are a lot of Japanese women who are kind of giving about an uprising in the Japanese occupational space. With many Japanese women now being able to work, earn sufficient amounts of money, and pretty much look after themselves financially on their own. And I say good on you, Japanese girls, you do you, boo-boo. But unfortunately, there are a lot of Japanese men who are actually finding it harder to attract these powerful women in the occupational space, since many of these women are making just as much, if not more, than the Japanese men who are quite sensitive about their sense of worth concerning their occupational pay. And there are also a lot of Japanese women who are just financially stable by themselves and they don't need anybody to put food on the table for them. I'm a strong, independent Japanese woman who don't need no Japanese man. Now, of course, with with my name being The Anime Man, we had to throw in some good old-fashioned anime into the mix at some point. And yes, I'm sure there are a lot of you who were expecting this point to be in the video, but one of the other big reasons why a lot of people think there may be a lot of Japanese versions is because of the large mainstream spread of the anime and otaku culture. Yes, the whole assumption of anime fans are all versions may not be an assumption at all. But I wanted to explore this question in more depth and hopefully get to the bottom of this. Is anime to blame for Japan's population crisis? There are of course a lot of assumptions and generalizations when it comes to highly obsessive and highly escapism-centered communities like the anime and otaku culture, with many of its members using anime, games, and idols as a form of escapism from the shitty reality that they live in. Some members going a little bit too balls deep and get so infatuated in this culture that they start to actually give up on reality as a whole. I saw a really interesting Japanese TV show the other day where they invited a bunch of otakus, or I guess well-known members of the otaku and anime community, to talk about their obsessions and their fandom and the culture in general. Some were famous TV personalities, some were famous cosplayers, while others were, I guess, the more infamous and more hardcore otakus that are known from the online community. While each individual had different tastes in their waifus and husbandos, I found that they all had one common philosophical understanding. They don't find any attraction to real three-dimensional people. Now yes, I will agree that my waifu Shinobu is cute as fuck and I love her with all of my being. But even I know when it's appropriate to step away from the screen and face reality. And that's the biggest problem for a lot of otaku who have kind of given up on reality. It's that all of their standards in life, from the food they eat, the people they talk to, the jobs they have, if any, and the entities they are attracted to are all being set by the anime that they watch. With it being a collection of fictional works, anime is clearly taking the idea of attractive people, putting it on a platter and saying, hey, this is what an attractive person looks like. But of course, with it being a fictional work, and with anime characters especially being over-exaggerations of personalities that may exist in reality, those very same personalities barely ever appear in reality. You can search the whole of Japan, the entire world if you want, and there is pretty much a 0% chance that you will ever find the Aisaka Taiga or Gasa Yuno equivalent in reality. And rightfully so, because all of these characters are nothing more than exaggerated personalities molded by the author's ideals and imaginations. That's like pointing a telescope up in the sky and hoping to see the Millennium Falcon pass by while Chewbacca waves at you like... While on my research hunt for this topic, another problem that I found with the anime world is that virginity is an ideal. Much like escapism, otakus want to escape from reality and imagine a world that they idealize. And in that world, they want to take their favorite anime character, game character, whoever their waifu or husbando may be, and do whatever the fuck they want to do to them in their own world. That's escapism 101. In the otaku world, versions are linked to the word otome, which is the Japanese word for maiden. They're sacred, pure, untouched, and it's a privilege to get even close to them and do whatever the fuck your dirty imagination wants to do to them. By the way, does this philosophical idealism gross you out and doesn't make a lick of fucking sense to you? Don't worry, I don't get it either. In fact, the strangest part about shoujochu or version mania, yeah, it even has its own fucking name, like, is that it also applies to Japanese idols, with the large majority of Japanese idols not actually being allowed to be in open relationships, because it's said to ruin the fans' idealism of them being pure and untouched, and is pretty much the act of backstabbing an otaku's escapist reality. Yes, you heard me correctly, this twisted form of imagination and escapism idealism even applies to real three-dimensional women. Hypocrisy for the win! So with all that escapist idealist philosophical mumbo jumbo out of the way, let's revise the question. Is anime to blame for Japan's population crisis? The answer is maybe. To some extent, meh. But after all of that, I can say two things are for certain. Is that Japan is, in fact, in a population crisis and Japanese peeps need to be fucking more. And that real, balls deep Japanese otaku that have given up on all of reality are so creepy to the point that even other otaku are like, bro, Really? I'm not saying that you shouldn't use anime and other otaku related stuff as a form of escapism, because I'm sure there are a lot of you who are watching this video that do exactly that. But all I'm saying is that if you are the person to use anime as a form of escapism, you should use it in moderation. Because no matter how you try, you live on planet Earth, motherfucker. Yes, this world sucks sometimes, but you just gotta suck it up, breathe in, and mutter, what the fuck, Japan? So guys, what do you think about all of this? Do you think anime is to blame for Japan's population crisis? What do you think about the large population of Japanese people being virgins and the problems that relate to that virginity problem? And what do you think are the ways that Japan can possibly prevent more virgins from being created and possibly get out of this population crisis? I want you guys to let me know all that kind of stuff in the comments below. Also, if there are any other pieces of news, cultural shocks, and other faiths lost in humanity straight from the heart of ramen land that you want me to talk about in the next What the Fuck Japan episode, then let me know by following me over on Twitter and tweeting me any articles that make you go, what the fuck, Japan? Now, if you excuse me, I'm gonna go indulge myself in a nice tall glass of pussy juice, so I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching. As always, like and favorite if you enjoyed, subscribe for more anime banter. Keep watching anime. Ciao!